Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tara. And we are absolutely buzzing today because seriously, if you blinked, you probably missed about 5 baskets in the NBA last night. We've got a scoring explosion that will make your head spin, some wild swings in team performance, and power rankings across multiple leagues that are defying all expectations.
Absolutely, Tara. We're talking about a Lakers Heat game that looked more like an all-star exhibition than a regular season contest. Plus, we've got some NHL teams that are riding a roller coaster of form and an MLS Power Index that's got some usual suspects, but also a few names that might surprise you. So buckle up because we're diving deep into all of it.
Let's jump straight into the NBA, Mike, because that Lakers Heat game is just screaming for attention. 134 to 126? That's 260 points combined. What was defense anyway? Did they even try to play it?
Tara, it sounds like an offensive masterclass, right? The Lakers putting up 134 on the road against a solid Heat team? That's not just efficient, that's flat out dominant. LeBron probably had a triple-double in the first quarter with those numbers. It speaks to the modern NBA. Pace, space, and a whole lot of shooting. But you have to wonder, where was the defensive intensity? You usually expect Eric Spoelstra's team to lock down.
Exactly. The Heat giving up 134 points at home, that's got to be a major red flag for them, even if they put up 126 themselves. You can win a shootout sometimes, but consistently, that's not the recipe for a deep playoff run, especially with the Lakers who have been so up and down this season. It's almost like both teams decided to just embrace the offense-only philosophy for one night.
And speaking of up and down, let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Their trend numbers are absolutely bonkers. They went 55% in February, which was nearly 20 points below their season baseline. Then they flipped the switch in March to 100% win rate, a staggering 26.3% above their baseline. What in the world happened in the locker room between February 28th and March 1st?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it, Mike? A complete 180. You don't see swings like that unless there's a major lineup change, a coaching shakeup, or maybe they just collectively decided to try harder. I'm leaning towards a critical team meeting, or maybe a key player returning from injury, or even just hitting a groove where everything clicks. But to go from significantly underperforming to absolute perfection in a single month, that's a serious contender for most improved team in a month.
It makes you wonder if February was a blip or if March is unsustainable. I'm a bit skeptical of a 100% win rate holding, but if they can even maintain 70–80% for the rest of the season, that February slump will be a distant memory. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets went the opposite direction, down to 17% in February, 11 points below their baseline. So February was a rough month for a lot of teams in the East.
It was a brutal stretch for the Nets. That kind of drop can shatter team morale and sink a season. They need to find their March equivalent, and fast, or their playoff hopes are going to evaporate. But back to the power index, Mike. This is where things get really interesting in the NBA. San Antonio Spurs at number 1 with 78.2 points, followed by the Hornets, then the Thunder, Knicks, and Lakers rounding out the top 5. Where are the Nuggets? Where are the Celtics? The Warriors? This list is unique.
Unique is an understatement, Tara. This power index is either seeing something nobody else is, or it's predicting a massive shift in the league. The Spurs at 1? Popovich always squeezes talent, but this is a huge jump. Are we talking about a young core finally gelling, or some dark horse MVP candidate we're not fully appreciating yet? They're not even in the top tier of typical championship discussions. And the Hornets at 2? I love their energy, but again, a championship contender?
No, absolutely not. Not traditionally. This tells me the power index is heavily weighing recent performance and momentum. The Spurs must be on an incredible run, pulling off some big wins. Same for the Hornets and Thunder. It's a testament to how competitive the league is, that these teams, often overlooked, can climb to the very top of a statistical ranking. It also probably means those traditional powerhouses like Boston and Denver have hit a bit of a slump recently, dropping them out of these top spots.
Or maybe the index is valuing depth over superstar power right now. The Knicks at 4, though, that makes a bit more sense. They've been consistently tough, physical, and exceeding expectations all season. And the Lakers at 5, especially after that 134-point outburst, shows they still have that offensive firepower to be considered elite when they want to be. It's a fascinating look at who's hot right now, regardless of historical reputation.
Absolutely. It's a snapshot, and right now, the picture shows a very different NBA landscape. Let's shift gears to the NHL because we have another incredible trend story here. The Boston Bruins, 91% win rate in January, 26.9 points above their season baseline. Over 11 games, they were absolutely unplayable. Then March rolls around and they drop to 50%, 14 points below their baseline. What is happening in Boston?
Talk about a Jekyll and Hyde performance, Tara. January, they looked like the best team in hockey, period. Crushing opponents, unstoppable. Then they hit March and it's like they forgot how to play. We just saw them beat Winnipeg 6-1, which is a great rebound, but it doesn't erase that March slump. My hot take? January was probably an unsustainable high, maybe a perfect storm of health and puck luck. March might be more indicative of their true form, a good team, but not dominant enough to maintain 91% wins.
I'm going to push back a little there, Mike. I think January shows their ceiling, what they can be when everything is clicking. March might have been a physical and mental fatigue slump, especially after such a dominant January. Maybe a couple of key injuries or just running into hotter goalies. The fact that they still managed 50% in a slump shows resilience. I think they'll find a middle ground, but that 6-1 win over Winnipeg suggests they're pulling out of the March funk. It's a huge psychological boost.
You might be right. Their power index has them outside the top 5 too, which is another interesting point. Instead, we have the Buffalo Sabres at number 1, followed by the Columbus Blue Jackets, Hurricanes, Devils, and Islanders. Again, a list that features some really exciting young talent and teams that are on the rise, but not necessarily the traditional Stanley Cup contenders. Sabres at 1? That's a statement.
It's a huge statement for Buffalo. They've been building for a while, and this power index suggests they're finally putting it all together. It's fantastic for their fan base, who have been waiting for this kind of success. Columbus at 2 is also impressive. The Rangers lost to Columbus 6-3, which definitely supports that Blue Jackets high ranking. It shows their offensive capabilities.
And the Florida Panthers shutting out the Oilers 4-0, that's a big win against a high-powered offensive team. It shows defensive solidity from Florida, which will be crucial for any playoff aspirations. The Flyers also pulled off a tight 4-3 win against LA, showing they can grind out results. But the bigger picture here is the shift in power. These teams in the Power Index top 5 are hungry, fast, and causing problems for everyone.
They absolutely are. It's making the league incredibly exciting. Let's pivot to NCAA because March Madness is always in the air, even if it's not actually March. The Power Index top 5, Duke, Arizona, George Mason, St. John's, Arkansas. Duke and Arizona are no surprise. Those are perennial powerhouses. But George Mason, St. John's, and Arkansas cracking the top 5, that's compelling.
It definitely is, Tara. Duke with 71-65 win over Siena, not exactly blowing them out, but a win's a win. And Arizona beating Hawaii 97-78 is a solid victory. But George Mason and St. John's being up there indicates they are playing some truly dominant basketball right now, making a case for deep tournament runs. Arkansas also had a commanding 97-78 win over Hawaii. The Razorbacks are clearly clicking.
And how about Illinois dropping 105 points on Pennsylvania, winning by 35? That's not just a win, that's a statement. That's a team saying we can score with anyone and we can play defense. It also highlights the explosive offenses we're seeing in college basketball this season. And on the trend front, we have Arizona, Florida, and Houston, all on 5-game winning streaks or more. Those streaks are critical heading into the conference tournaments.
Absolutely. Arizona's 7-game streak is particularly impressive for a team already ranked so high. It shows consistency, which is key. Houston's 5-game streak and the fact they crushed Idaho 78-47 means they're not just winning, they're dominating. Florida's 5-game streak also puts them in a great position. All these teams are peaking at the right time, building momentum for what promises to be a wild March.
It's going to be a fun few weeks. Switching gears to the MLB, we've got the Atlanta Braves leading the power index at 80.3 points, followed by the Cleveland Guardians, Boston Red Sox, Dodgers, and Angels. Braves being number 1 is no shocker. They're consistently one of the best teams in baseball.
No shock there at all, but the Guardians at 2, that's a testament to their pitching and fundamental baseball, grinding out wins. And their 6-5 win over Kansas City backs that up, a tight, hard-fought game. Aaron Seville's 79 MLB rating and their 6-4 win over Seattle, that's just a dominant performance from a pitcher. He clearly had his best stuff, locking down the Mariners.
Seville was lights out. That kind of individual brilliance can carry a team. The Red Sox at 3 is also interesting. Their power index is high, but their March trend shows them at only 30% wins, 10 points below their baseline. So, similar to the Bruins, the power index might be looking at overall season performance, but they're definitely slumping right now. They did manage a 4-2 win over Minnesota, which is good, but they need more of those.
Totally. That March dip for the Red Sox is a concern, especially when you have teams like the Athletics and Astros surging. The As went 63% in March, 7.5% above their baseline, and the Astros at 53%, 9.5% above. So while the Red Sox are struggling, other teams are finding their stride. We saw the As lose to Seattle 6-4, but that March trend is still very positive for them overall.
Yeah, the As are definitely a team to watch in terms of momentum. They might not be power index darlings yet, but that trend speaks volumes.
All right, let's quickly touch on the soccer leagues. MLS, no games today, but NYCFC still reigns supreme in the power index at 83.9, followed by LAFC, Real Salt Lake, Atlanta United, and New England Revolution.